So 2024, it's been a year of nostalgia, a year of animals, a year of sport, a year of sport and animals, but most of all, it's been a year of Taylor Swift. An awful lot of Taylor Swift. So where do we start? Well, how about in Yorkshire, where Simon Dell has made an entire model village just for mice. He's happy letting them pose for photos, but his wife thinks it's
absolutely bonkers. But yeah, he loves looking after the wildlife and the animals, so anything that keeps Simon happy makes me happy.
And from bonkers to something that's completely Cuckoo Land in Cheshire, to be precise, which is thought to be the world's largest collection of cuckoo clocks. And if you think that's cuckoo, apparently the perfect full English breakfast should contain pineapple.
I don't want pineapple in my food.
Try the pineapple. It's lovely. Lovely.
And with that breakfast, why not have a nice cup of tea?
According to one American scientist, the best cup of tea comes in a mug, and instead of cold milk, you should add hot, and instead of sugar, you should add salt.
Definitely not for me. It tasted more like I'd actually made the cup of tea using seawater.
Meanwhile, in Scotland, the search was on to find a macaque monkey that escaped from a zoo.
Came to the window and sure enough, there was a monkey munching on my nuts.
It had been a labour of love recreating the most famous landmark in Paris, the Eiffel Tower, out of matchsticks to claim a place in the Guinness Book of Records. But Frenchman Richard Ploud's attempt has been rejected for using the wrong kind of matches. In every other way, his model matched the criteria. At 23 feet tall, it towered 2 feet above the previous record-breaking matchstick masterpiece. He had ordered special matchsticks without inflammable heads. Guinness said they had to be the kind you buy in shops, so struck his effort off the record books. Outrageous. He was robbed.
And if the Eiffel Tower isn't appetising enough for you, how about a life-size model of Taylor Swift made out of cake? And if you're baking in a village in North Oxfordshire, your eggs might arrive by goat. Or at least they did, until Alan here retired after 4 years of deliveries. Now, at this festive time of year, ITV News would like to warn you against getting too
smashed, hammered, trolleyed, trolleyed, that's a good one.
Eskimos might possibly have 100 words for snow, but us Brits have got at least 546 words for drunk.
Car parked, or gazeboed, or pajamaed. You have the impression that it's possible to use any word in English, any noun, add ed, put it in a context where you have to be or to get in front, and some kind of intensifying adverb, and then you've got it.
Look at Luciano, where I'm from, I make it happen.
London's Globe Theatre has gone all canine.
What do people love? Dogs. What is Shakespeare? Ruffs. Dogs plus ruffs. Like, hi everyone, we're here!
And in Paris, the competition was fierce to find the best cheese toastie. ITV News asked the hard-hitting questions.
And can you have a cheese toastie with a bun rather than a slice of bread?
I would say no.
Controversial.
It is controversial.
So there she was, minding her own business when... Thankfully, though, someone was on hand to rescue this poor pensioner from Pontypridd. Now, is there a right or wrong way to load the dishwasher? Please don't write in.
I do the dishes very impressive.
Absolutely not, that's completely false.
I get more in a dishwasher than my wife does, but I'm still wrong.
I don't know whether there's a right way or a wrong way.
There is a right way. I've seen on YouTube.
We met the woman who loved working at a London station so much she legally changed her middle name to Marylebone.
It's a stampede.
And in Australia, it turns out golf has some rather unique hazards. Looks a little bit scary, doesn't it? And that wasn't the only sporting club to get a bit of an invasion.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are surrounded with bees here.
The tennis at Indian Wells in California was delayed for 2 hours until they could find a man with a giant bee hoover. Well, everyone needs one. And back in the UK, someone wrote a kids show for the people who don't like kids shows and finally said that thing that we've all been thinking.
We don't want to go to something with our kid where we're really bored and just waiting for when we can get a coffee.
I bet you were wondering how long it would take me to mention potholes. One anonymous Daventry resident has got so annoyed she's been putting up her own Banksy-inspired signs.
You know, there's some people that are happy sitting on their sofas at home moaning about potholes. There's some people that have road rage. I'm a doer. Got off my sofa and I put a funny sign out.
This rather amazing flat in Birkenhead, which was transformed into a magical world by an amateur artist, has been officially protected with a Grade 2 listing. Dorothy here got her own artwork at the age of 89. She got her first tattoo. She's a bit of a Snoopy obsessive, by the way. What you're hearing here is not a police siren, it's a bird with a rather impressive talent for mimicry. Cum Albion, dubbed the worst football team in Britain after letting in almost 200 goals in a season, were temporarily coached by former Premier League manager Harry Redknapp.
Dan! Pep Guardiola would have been proud of you.
Forget Leaves on the line, it was geese that delayed trains at Mortlake Station in West London. And
so I watched as you walk into some bar called the Black Dog.
A Taylor Swift lyric has turned a pub into a mecca for fans. But not everyone.
Is that why you've come here?
No.
Now this is Seagull Boy, the official champion at the Seagull Screeching Contest in Belgium. Yes, that is a thing.
Spider-Man got bit by a spider, and then he turned into Spider-Man. And I got bit by a seagull, and now I am Seagull Boy.
Would you ever call him a plonker?
Nah, sometimes, maybe.
Do you know what it means?
Nah.
Dit? Dit?
Git. Numpty?
No.
Now, a survey's found many insults are under threat, like lummox, meaning clumsy. 62% of under 28s had never heard of it. 54% didn't recognise blighter for a contemptuous person. Similar numbers didn't know ninny, meaning fool.
Now, it turns out not only are some classic British insults falling out of favour, our chips are under threat as well.
Apparently, these chunky chips have been replaced as the nation's favourite by their much skinnier rival, the French fry.
I'd stay off the chips altogether, though, if you want to try something like this. 2 skydivers managed to dive through Tower Bridge. And if the seagull impressions didn't work for you, wait until you hear what Riley here can do.
Wow, isn't that amazing?
And here's another batch of Swifties, this time residents of a care home in Buckinghamshire recreating some album covers.
We need to find him a ball because he's moving very well in the centre of midfield.
More wildlife stopping play now. Have you ever tried catching a raccoon on a football pitch?
Bringing out the trash cans to try and capture the animal.
Meet Robert, a man who wasn't going to sit back and let someone steal his penny farthing bike.
I knocked on his door, told him, "You stole my bike. Here's the CCTV footage of you pushing the bike along." And he was quite shocked and he was quite surprised.
This is Kevin. He's a Great Dane, he's 3'2", and he's officially the world's tallest dog. Oh, and it's her again. The British Geological Survey reported that Swifties at a gig in Edinburgh were so enthusiastic it registered on earthquake sensors. And elsewhere in Scotland, a house in Inverness picked up some extra residents, 180,000 bees. Heading into the summer, and James Corden was so determined to catch England v Switzerland in the Euros, he delayed the start of his play at the Old Vic. A seagull in Dorset has been banned from the local newsagents for nicking crisps.
We've lost maybe 40 packets of crisps in the last 2 weeks because of it. He always seems to take the same packet of crisps. We have put different flavours on to try and deter it, like spicy crisps. They don't care.
And pet dogs have been fitted with special bags in East Sussex so they can spread grass and flower seeds as they walk.
Good morning, good morning.
Now meet Comfort, the woman delivering meals with a song at the Royal London Hospital. What's the best way to celebrate your 102nd birthday? Manette decided to take a charity parachute jump, becoming Britain's oldest skydiver.
Getting to 80 and 90, it's not as bad as you think. But fight it all the way. Don't give in. It's worth it.
He's got the look. He's got the hips.
Walking through a party in the county jail.
The prisoner was there, it began well.
But he isn't just any Elvis tribute act. He's officially the best in the world.
Emilio Santoro!
Remember the geese? Well, rail workers have been getting training to help them safely remove swans from the tracks. The Junior Tour of Wales cycle race had to be shortened because, the organisers claim, the 20-mile-an-hour speed limits there made it impossible for support cars to keep up. And the Italian classic spaghetti carbonara is now available in a tin, and it hasn't won favour with traditionalists.
It's offensive, not authentic.
This is familiar territory. A survey of teachers has found some of the most common excuses for being late to school.
One told his teacher his hamster was stuck in the chimney again. Several gave stopping at the food chain Greggs as a reason for being late, while another said their nan went to the wrong school. And a parent said her child put blue food dye on a waffle instead of syrup, and they were trying to wash it off her face.
Cinnamon, the capybara, escaped from a zoo in Shropshire, and our reporters were out on the hunt.
We have got wind of a fresh sighting in this nearby woodland. The problem is, over this bank is a brook. We know that capybaras can survive underwater for 5 minutes, and they can swim at pace. Reclaiming her could be tricky.
Don't worry though, she was safely recovered a few days later. That 90s classic, the Tamagotchi, saw a resurgence.
We've definitely benefited from the kind of resurgence of the 90s. I think Tamagotchi has got that appeal. And yes, we expect it to grow. We've got lots of different variants now.
Well, my name's Eve. Eve Moneypenny.
And you might have seen Miss Moneypenny on screen, but one historian thinks she's managed to trace the real person that inspired the character.
I found a woman called Kathleen Pettigrew. She told a living relative very late in life when he visited her. They were joking and he said, oh, you know, you were Miss Moneypenny, like in the Bond films. And in a serious tone, she said, I was Miss Moneypenny, but with more power.
Remember that cruise ship that was stuck in Belfast for months?
Oh man, your summer is horrible. Can't cook to save your lives, but you do know how to drink, that's for sure.
Well, in October it finally left. Almost.
The Villa V Odyssey made it just 10 miles overnight before having to drop anchor. They aren't even out of Loch Belfast yet. Passengers who've paid thousands have so far managed a day trip up the coast to Bangor, and they've remained here all day, just floating in the same spot.
Penny farthings again. This time it was a world record attempt in South London. A film premiere with a bit of a difference.
Stick it up your jumper. Right. Lord help us. Let him have it.
As residents of a care home in Derbyshire create their own comedy western. Now, don't you hate airport farewells? One airport in New Zealand set a strict 3-minute limit on goodbye hugs.
There's only so much space we have in that drop-off area, and if too many people are spending too much time with their fonder farewells in the drop-off zone, there's no space left for others.
If high-definition streaming isn't for you, I've got some good news. VHS videos are making a comeback.
It's on. Oh, you know, it's a real mix. We get a lot of older customers, but I've been really, really pleasantly surprised by the amount of young people who are coming in, and you know, they want to know what was it like, what was life like at a video shop.
And meet the amazing neighbours who learn British Sign Language just so a deaf 6-year-old could go trick-or-treating. The figures are in, and it looks like we order some weird things for delivery.
Royal Tunbridge Wells in Kent ordered more champagne than anywhere else in the UK. Brighton was the top consumer of milk and dairy alternatives. In Birmingham, meanwhile, Sainsbury's bananas were a surprisingly popular choice. And for Londoners, the simple Waitrose cucumber was near the top of the rankings.
When an insurance claim for a bear attack on a car in California didn't seem right, the company investigated and found possibly a more human explanation. Engineers working on this lighthouse found a message in a bottle left there 132 years earlier.
Well, the interesting thing was Ross is here to work on exactly the same lens as they installed.
So that was a huge coincidence with it all, that we were actually here to work on the machinery that they are referring to in this letter.
And a man paid £4.9 million for an artwork consisting of a banana taped to a wall and then ate it. Sightings of mystery UFOs continue in the US.
Who owns them, who's flying them, what they are, the lack of information is absolutely unacceptable.
And police in Massachusetts chase a wanted man onto a roof, only to find he's taken inspiration from Santa while trying to make his escape.
You're an idiot. Get up. Show us your hand right now. Show us your hand.
Could it be that dolphins sound different depending on where they come from?
Different dolphins have different regional accents, so a Scottish bottlenose dolphin sounds quite different to a Californian bottlenose dolphin, for example.
And finally, after a year of strange and unusual news stories, it's reassuring to know that the good old Christmas pudding is back in demand.
I really go for it. I go for custard and cream on Christmas pudding. What else is there?